Hi guys, welcome to another Coturnix Corner Live. I am so glad you could join us tonight. Tonight's guest is Nicole and Robert from Sugar Feather Farm up there in Vermont, I believe it is. And they will be talking about their setup. And if you're new to quail, they are going to be sharing a bunch of their tips and some kind of recommendations and whatnot for getting started and answering any questions that you may have. I do want to say that Coturnix Corner has been growing at a phenomenal rate, and I would like to thank all you guys that helped make this channel a success. Without you guys, obviously, it wouldn't be where it's at now. If you're not yet a subscriber, please do so, and also hit that notification bell, and you guys can get notified of any new and upcoming content. Okay, before we get started, I do have a couple announcements that I'd like to make. First off, a shout out to Matt Heydrich over there at M&M Quail. Matt sends out these little magnets with all his shipments, whether they're eggs or shipping containers or shipping cartons. And Matt has a unique way of posting ads on Facebook so they don't get pulled off. Second, we are going to be giving away Coturnix Corner Live tumbler to the person who asked the most engaging question of the night for our guest. Also, we have the tumblers available on coturnixcorner.com if you would rather purchase one. They are $35 a piece, and that includes shipping. Let's see, the show is going to run till 8 o'clock tonight, guys. So get your questions in early so we can get to all the questions. I try not to hold our guests past 8 o'clock if we don't have to. So also, if you would, please type the letter Q in front of your questions. That just helps us distinguish the comments from the questions and makes things go a little bit smoother. And also, our moderator tonight is Verna Young. She keeps things running smoothly in the chat room and also helps with questions and comments. So Verna, thank you very much. As always, I do appreciate it. And last but not least, we do have a new Coturnix Quail 101 live stream that the first one aired this past Saturday, but they are going to be running every Saturday at 7 p.m. on the Coturnix Corner Facebook group page, and that is hosted by Christian Kugel and Nicole Winkles. So be sure to put that on your calendar and check that out. So guys, that's about it for the announcements. So let's go ahead and get the show started. Hello and welcome to the show, Nicole and Robert. How are you guys doing?
Doing good. How are you?
Doing great.
Great. I appreciate you guys taking the time to join us tonight.
Absolutely.
Nicole, if you guys would introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about Sugar Feather Farm.
Sure. So, yeah, our name is Sugar Feather Farm. We started in about 2018, and we're a rare breed farm. So we do rare, heritage, and unique breeds of fowl. So we do quail, ducks, guineas, turkeys, chickens, and geese. So we do a large variety. We do a lot of conservation work. We work with the Livestock Conservancy. We work with a lot of mentors. We also have classes. We also do consultations. So I do some consultations for people who are just starting. They come here. They do farm tours at our farm. I do them over the phone as well, or like this. And I also have someone called Peter Brown. He's a chicken doctor, but he can also help with quail or any type of fowl, really, and any health issues or supplements. So sure. That's kind of generally what we do.
Great. And what types of birds are you keeping? I know you went through. Do you have any specific colors and stuff that you keep?
For quail, yes. So I actually have some eggs here because I always like to do show and tell.
Oh, but, beautiful.
Yeah, so I love doing Celadons. So we do the Celadons, and then I have different feather types of, the typical Coturnix. So I do both.
Okay. I understand that you guys have a specially blended starter feed available. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So our farm is a non-GMO farm. So all of our feed is custom designed by nutritionists. So we work with an organic nutritionist, but our feed is non-GMO. And so I have a special blend in our feed that has probiotics, special vitamins, and this is for all our fowl. It's all custom for each one of our fowl. But for the quail particularly, or the game birds, it's already ground up, pre-ground up for babies, so no need to do that. And it has, I believe, 26% protein. It has a good amount of amino acids, which is really important for babies' development. And like I said, this special vitamin mix that's included. Grits in there actually already. And then I have something called Prosper EO, which is a oil, kind of like an oregano blend in there, and some other probiotics, fish meal, things like that. And it's freshly ground, and we get it trucked here, and we sell it on our farm to people who want to come, and we also ship the feed.
Okay, great. And you said that's available to be shipped also?
It is. So I think we ship 5 pounds, 20 pounds. 50 pounds is really cost prohibitive for people.
Sure, I can imagine.
So I wish we could, but it's a lot to ship that for customers.
Sure. What recommendations do you have for those just getting into keeping Coturnix quail? What would you recommend to them?
Gosh, quail are like so amazing.
Yeah.
We just love them. What the recommendations is to do research and your homework before, if you can, or talk to some people who are experts, or grab a mentor. And I know everyone thinks they're an expert. I'm not an expert, but I have a lot of experience in fowl generally. So I use that experience and the knowledge, and also anything I have done, and to start with the quail. So. Tips would be get nutrition. So you want to start your babies off, your quail off, with the best nutrition possible. They come into this world fast, they leave fast, they grow fast, and you want them to be strong, healthy, and lay, and be productive, and for meat as well. So if you're using for meat or for eggs, so nutrition, and then also water. So fresh, clean water is like critical. I put some things in my water for the quail. So I do an oil of oregano. So this is kind of an oil of oregano I use. It's a special blend with pepper, lime, I believe, and I sell this. I also sometimes put extra amino acids for the babies in my water, and I also do like a Vita Pro B. It's like a B vitamin that helps with stress, because they're very kind of stressful birds.
Right.
So on the nutrition side and water side, to me that's really important. Dust baths are important, right, starting off. So, what things to put in the dust bath, I can go over that now, or I can wait if people want to ask questions on that.
Okay.
Some other things is like nipple waters. This is just an example, but this isn't everything. But something they don't drown in, or there's this that you can use a mason jar for the top, and then you can put the rocks there, because they're so tiny. They're like half of my pinky.
Right.
So when they're born, and they're very squirrely, so you just want to make sure that they're safe. Like a game bird type feeder. This is just something that I have that is for game birds, but it doesn't have to be this. It could be really something extremely basic. So I'm all about using what you have, or anything basic. For me, it's a little different operation because I have a lot. So, and then when they're born, the most critical thing is in the non-slip surface. So. I actually do bees as well, so I have actually some beehive foundations that are black that I put in there for them.
Cool.
Shelf paper, this is something that's so it's really important that they have stability, no newspaper, no shavings, right when they're born. And then when they're more stable, then I recommend, doing shavings.
Okay.
So,
Robert, what's your job around the farm?
Well, I try to put everything together,
Okay.
keep everybody happy and keep her happy. I try to make it nice and easy, so she can feed them, water them.
Gotcha.
I build all the coops. Just pretty much take care of everything.
Designs the structure, designs the locations, does the heavier lifting.
Yeah, because we get the snow, so she got to be able to get in and out.
Yep.
We got tons of feed that come in, so we have to make sure that we can get to the birds at the time. And I set up that quail tent that we have. I set up like a light system for it.
Okay.
Just their little timer lights, the basic plug-in, and some shop lights and Christmas lights.
Okay.
And I have them go on at certain times for them.
Right.
So, and they seem to be laying pretty well there, doing the timer.
Gotcha. Cool.
Yeah.
I see one question that's come up a couple times already. People are wanting to know, where in Vermont are you located?
Oh, we're in central Vermont, so we're by the capital, Montpelier. So that's where we're at.
Do you do
It's
farm
a pretty
tours?
cool place. We do. I don't let anybody in our breeding areas, but people do come and they can. I actually have a seating area on the outside. It's really beautiful here. I mean, it's gorgeous. So people can tour around the farm on the outside.
Right.
I do that all the time.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to bring up some of those photos that you sent, and if you want to tell us a little bit about what's in the photos and what we're looking
absolutely.
at. Who is this?
Well, there's me. There's truly. That was a photo, and I did a big YouTube giveaway for my Amsamani birds. They're these black chickens, inside and out meat, black. The meat's black, bones, skin. So that's me. Yours truly.
Cool.
Yeah. So we have several different cages. I don't have any of our quail on the ground, and for us it's just not practical where we live. We have pretty much every kind of weather condition possible here, so I just don't want to deal with the parasites and the wetness and the dampness. And I mean, quail, like the number one thing to know is quail poop a lot. That's like my biggest thing to tell people.
Right.
Poop. So it's so much healthier, in my opinion, for us to have them in these types of cages, but to make it as natural as possible, because the quail, happy quail are productive quail. So I tell everybody that it's super important that they're happy, or they will, when they're miserable, they don't lay eggs, and it's not a good thing. So I incorporate natural things from the environment. Like pine trees are great because they last a very long time. They smell good.
Yep.
I have straw. I have hay here. I don't recommend keeping those too long because you don't want them to get damp. And then I just have all kinds of stuff I try. So there's a water cup in there. There's a dust bath. There's food. They kick the food out, so now I have chicken wire actually over that. Just I always experiment. And now they can't go in and kick the food out, but they lay the eggs in both of those, which is great. And then they don't get poopy.
Yep.
And these are growing quail.
Okay.
So in this cage, yeah.
And this one?
It's a double stacker. Yeah. So in our quail area, we've taken some things we purchased and then we modified them what works for us, which that's what I recommend people do too. Finding things that work for your situation, and that's what's cool about quails. You can do anything anywhere. You can have them on the porch. You can have them anywhere, which is so fantastic. So this is like a rabbit hutch actually that goes on the ground. I forget what it's the shape called. The triangle shape, triangle, but it had no bottom. So
Okay.
basically, we have 4 of these. They have an inside small area because quail like privacy, somewhere to hide, and then we put them on a table. We built a table with, I think it's 1/2 inch hardware cloth is what we use for pretty much everything, for them. And it's great for everything. And predators, their feet, the whole 9 yards, and poop
Okay.
goes through. So, and then just figuring out kind of the water situation, and we just had winters kind of just stopped here. I mean, we're going to have snow in a day, so it's really hard for me to have a watering system necessarily for these.
Right.
So sometimes I use these. I just change things depending on the season, because they get frozen. So then I have the feed bowl in there with the chicken wire on top, and then inside the house, that little dark area is their dust bathing bowl, and somewhere for them to hide. And then I usually put greenery in there too. I put some maple leaves. I got maple trees, of course, this is Vermont. And then we have our pine trees.
Yep.
And yeah, so that's those.
Okay. There's
And
another
they're
shot of
super
them.
easy. I mean, yeah, they're really inexpensive. Anybody, I think they were like $45
Oh,
for
wow.
those cages. So I know, but the table we built, so that wasn't very hard either. You can do that definitely in a couple hours. And we move those. They're really light. You can move them all over the place, which
Mhm.
we've done that before.
What's under them for to catch the manure? What type of trays are you
Um,
using?
I have no trays.
No trays.
Actually.
Oh, it's
So
dropping on the ground.
Yep, just dropping right on the ground.
And then
Okay.
we compost.
Then we compost that.
Hmm.
Cool.
Yeah.
That cage looks
There they are
familiar.
Yeah, I know. So this is that 3-stack cage. That obviously I got this from somebody on Craigslist, actually. So we
Okay.
did not build this ourselves. So I've only had this maybe 2 weeks. I have our Celadons in here, our layers,
Mhm.
and so far they really like it. So the two and there's the 2 top. There's a third. The 2 top are the layers, and then the bottom one is for the grow. Some of the ones that are growing, or these might be the ones I'm growing for customers. Because I sell hatching eggs, for the quail, eating eggs at a farmer's market or online if people want. We sell the babies. We sell something called fully feathered, which are the quail, that are not adults yet, but I think I could sex them at that age. And then, of course, I sell the adults. So we sell all those ages to people, and people can come to the farm and pick them up,
Mhm.
or we ship them. We ship all over the U.S.
Okay.
So, yeah. So this is one of our, another one of our cages. We, like I said, we really like to try different things so we can let our customers know what works, what doesn't work.
Mhm.
I have some Celadon groups in here. I pulled them out, I rotate out to give them a break, because it's a very small area. I only have
Right.
maybe three in there. So right now that's pretty big. That's just vacant because I'm moving everybody around.
Right.
Yeah, and there they are. I like the water up in there.
Okay.
And there's them hanging out, enjoying.
Okay. There's the one I like.
Oh yeah, this is super fun. So this is our quail tractor. Where we definitely want to have more of these, and we have this actually out for customers to look at when they come to the farm by our beehive actually.
Mhm.
And what we did was we purchased the top part, is a turtle hutch. I believe it's a turtle hutch.
Okay.
And then we built it on this tractor system, and the handle pulls up, and I can lug this everywhere, which is great. So I don't have to ask Rob for help. There I am lugging it around. In the winter we put it away, and I put it somewhere, and then in the summer and the spring we bring it out, which I just brought it out.
Sure.
And so on the side, and it has all kinds of latches, and then of course I can move it right over our garden area. So
Mhm.
that's what's so great about this. It's super versatile. Anybody can do this, and move it around.
Sure.
And I keep quite a bit of quail in there actually. And then that area in the back is where they can, go in if they want to get away.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, and then that's the inside. There's just some of them in the inside. There's a feeder on the left,
Okay.
dust bath on the right, and then the water system. That's some of the Celadons in there,
Okay.
enjoying themselves. There's some more of my guys having some fun.
Okay,
You know,
perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, there's some chickies.
Yeah, it's so hard to take pictures of newborns. Let me
Right.
just tell you. So it's a little out of focus, but I love, that's all natural stuff in the photo of, guinea feathers, I'm sorry, eggs of the quail, and then my little babies running all over. They're so fun when they're newborns,
Right.
and trying, squirrely running around. So, yep, there's a photo of them.
Okay, great. All right. Looks like we're getting quite a few questions in there, so I want to go through and
Yeah.
start taking some of these questions before we get too far behind. And remember, guys, if you are posting a question, to type the letter Q in front of the question. Helps me find the questions a little bit easier. I'm not going to go through and read all of the comments, just due to the fact I don't want to run out of time, and I want to try to get in all your questions. So let's see, where are we at? Oh, Charlotte's Crazy Critters is in here watching from our cold and wet northern Vermont homestead.
Hi. Hi, neighbor.
As I say, it sounds like a neighbor of yours.
Yeah. We're all neighbors in Vermont.
Right. Let's see here. Okay, where are we? I went too far back. William Carl Foster's in the house. Welcome, William. Okay, Andrew says, what do you anticipate your next quail project to be or are currently working on?
Ooh, that's a good question. So right now I don't really have them separated out as much as I want to. So that would probably be my next phase. So it's really like it's a learning experience for us too. At the same time, picking out the colors, the feather types we like, and having those, in different cages separated out, and then maybe having some bigger eggs would be another project I'd like to do.
Okay.
Our fertility rates are really good, hatching rates are really good, so I don't think I need to work on any of that, which is awesome.
Okay. Cheyenne says, how do I introduce my younger quail to my older quail?
Ooh, I usually don't. I usually just kind of have them separate for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on the age. So, I would say you would want them to be fully feathered to introduce them to the adults. Is my take.
Right.
You don't want them too small; they would pick on each other. And then you also have to be careful of male. If it's a male or a female. A hen or a root.
Okay. This one's going to be interesting. Amy
Okay.
wants to know any blooper stories where you have totally messed up so bad it's funny. We lost audio on you. Nicole, we lost your audio. Is your microphone? Oh, it's showing you're muted. Did you touch the camera? Yeah, there should be a setting on your camera somewhere that will unmute you. I wish it would give me the option to unmute you from here. Can you hear me, you guys? You can hear me okay? Okay, I'll tell you what, just go ahead and sign out and call back in, and we will go from there. Shouldn't be any big deal. Okay, guys, so while we are waiting for them to call back in, I just want to remind you guys to go ahead and type the letter Q next to your question so that I can find your questions. Looks like we've got a good half hour left. I'd like to get through all the questions. Okay, they're calling back in now. Hold on one second. Can you guys hear me okay? You guys are still muted. Okay, they just signed out again. So, yeah, make sure you type the letter Q in front of your questions. Well, I hope they get back in so we can answer some of these questions. I see Freezer, or Verna said, Freezer, email Terry at coturnixcorner.com. What is that about? Freezer, were you wanting to come on the show? If so, email me and we will get that taken care of. You guys are still muted. Try unhooking your earphones and your microphone from the phone, and just use the or turn it off and turn it back on. Okay, I don't want to get too far ahead on my questions here. Always run into technical difficulties when you are going live, so I appreciate you guys holding off with us until we get this situation taken care of. I'm going to go ahead and remove you guys from the show and go ahead, call back in without your headphones paired with the phone. Let's see, we got Trehan says, my wife and I are first-time quail hatchers. How do you choose the best chicks to keep as pets? Let's see, I don't normally keep birds as pets. When I'm choosing chicks, I'm looking for, one, the largest chicks that we have, and the healthiest. You want good healthy chicks if you're going to be keeping them. But yeah, as far as pets, you could always just kind of mess with them a little bit, see how well they handle being handled and whatnot. So okay, our guests are trying to call back into the show. It looks like we're still running into a issue where they're muted. Okay, Nicole, can you hear me at all? Or Robert, can you hear me? Is there any way, Robert, if you can hear me, call in on your laptop? Use that link and use your laptop to call in. Okay, there's Nicole on it. Can you hear me, Nicole? You can hear me, but I'm not hearing you. I don't know what the problem is. That is crazy. I don't know why we're not getting no audio from these guys. Okay, I guess I'm just going to continue on and answer a few more of these questions until they figure out how to get their phone unmuted. Andrew says, have you ever noticed an issue with a prolapse in regards to running 28% protein longer or too long? I don't run that high of a protein on my layers. Once my birds start laying or reach 10 weeks of age, I usually cut them back to like a 20% protein, and then once they've been laying for a while, I will actually drop them back to a 16 or 18% protein, and I haven't had any issues with prolapse. Okay, Nicole, can you hear me? You're still muted. There, yeah, I don't know what's going on, Nicole. I'm so sorry. For some reason, it's muted. All I can tell you, Nicole, is there's an icon of you on that phone. If you hit it, yep, still muted, and I don't know why. Bear with me, guys. I am trying to figure out why my guest is muted. Yeah, I don't know why, Nicole, but you guys are still muted on your end. It's really strange that it's happening on both your laptop and your phone. Okay, let me see if we can't run through a few more of these questions.
Hello. Hello.
Now I got you.
We were in the green room.
We were in the green room.
Well, you're always in the green room when you call. Hold on, guys. I got them back. Let me bring them back up on stage. If you could turn your camera back to the orientation it was. There we go. I don't know what happened. I apologize for that.
I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
It was super strange.
Yeah. No, you automatically go in the green room when you call in. So.
Had an X through us every time we called
Yeah.
in. We're gonna be on a weird angle now. Sorry.
That's fine. Looks great there. Okay, back to the question. Jeff wants to know, what is the best lighting for quail in a garage?
In a garage?
Yep.
What's that? What's the UV, the local?
I think it was.
Shop. We use the shop light. I would use a
shop light, and I use a 5000K daylight.
Okay.
That
And
works.
then-
That works pretty
And then
well.
we have a light that goes on like to mimic dawn, and then to mimic dusk.
Okay.
In a way.
Cool.
Yeah.
And guys, I am so glad you guys hung around till we worked through that little technical difficulty. It looks like we still got everybody in here. So next question is, Carissa wants to know, my quail haven't laid in 3 weeks. Move them to a secluded area, plenty of light, feed, water, and even a dust bath, but no luck. They aren't even 1 year old yet. What can I do? I supplement eggshells also, too.
And you're sure you have female, like, I'm trying to think what else would have changed. Sounds like they're not happy for some reason. Maybe
Stressed out.
Maybe they're stressed. Check their droppings for color, different colors. Diarrhea, bright green. Maybe try putting some oregano oil in their water. Might be some sort of. Usually, quail have a lot of stomach issues. Usually tested.
Okay.
Give that a shot.
Okay, I just want to say thank you to SOS Jones for the instructional videos are great. Appreciate that. Let's see. Freezer wants to know, what's the best way to sell eating eggs and how to advertise them?
Sell eating eggs?
Yeah.
I think it's very dependent on where you live in your area. For us, it's relatively, I think, not that it's easy, it's very hot here to sell quail eggs. So you need to figure out in your area what works. Do you have a farmer's market? Do you have restaurants? And what avenue do you want to go? Like high production. There's so many different ways to go with selling breeding eggs. Pickling is another thing. I have an automatic quail peeler, egg peeler. Love it. It saves my life. So you can do that. But I definitely check out your area and what the going rate is, and if it's worth it. And you need to do the math and calculate the cost for feed and your time.
Joseph wants to know where you guys are from.
Oh, I know. We didn't talk about that. So we are from California, actually, Southern California. We live by the beach.
Nice.
5 kids. Yeah, 5 kids. And we wanted to just change our lives and have a homestead, and we moved to Vermont in 2018.
It's quite a change.
It's a huge change,
yeah.
But it's so amazing here. We love it.
Right.
So that's where we're from.
Cool. Okay, Leo Wolf says, if I take a normal colored egg laying quail and mix it with a Celadon laying quail, is it possible to get Celadon laying chicks?
I'm pretty sure it's not. You have to. I believe it's a recessive gene, right? I believe the answer is no.
You would have to breed back again.
Yeah.
Okay, Carrie was one of the ones that asked where are you located if we wanted to schedule a tour.
Yeah, I have. So we have a really nice website. If you check it out, and then on the website I have an area. I forget under which part of the menu. It says appointments, and then make sure you make an appointment.
Okay. Let's see. SOS Jones says, do you have a layer feed with enough calcium for the hens, or do you give them the starter feed with some type of a calcium supplement? The feed sounds great.
Yeah, love my feed. It smells so good. So I actually use our game bird grower feed and mix that with my breeder feed. So I have a breeder feed that I feed actually to all my fowl. All my fowl on the whole farm get the same breeder feed because I have to feed the best I can for my birds because I'm a breeder bird, right? So, so I do that. I actually mix that with, and it already has calcium in it.
Okay.
So I don't have to supplement. Great. Built in.
Okay, Cheyenne says, I candled a quail egg and the shell was green, and my quail laid 2 extra large eggs and I got a white egg once. What are the reasons of these egg colorings and sizes?
From the same exact quail, or is this from different quail in the
that's
cage?
what I was wondering, if it was from a different bird or just the same cage.
Yeah, we need more info in the community.
I noticed that a lot of my birds, when they lay, I can almost tell which bird lays what egg. I mean,
Yes.
I have one bird that lays this pointy, crazy. I mean, it's shaped like this. the fat end's real skinny and the pointy end's real pointy.
Yeah, like
Crazy.
I have here's an egg.
Yep.
That's this color. I love this color, and this one hen of mine lays this color, and I know who it is. It's great.
Yep.
Yeah. So there's always an identification on there.
Okay, Charlotte's Crazy Critters Homestead says, can you explain quail cages and breeding program?
Well, I just went through all the quail cages, right? So I do have a cage I keep my brood in without any hens. I have like a hospital as well. So I have like another area for anybody who's injured or needs a timeout, being bred too much maybe, or I need to investigate. So I have definitely different areas for different things. And then, the breeding program, of course, the Celadons are with the Celadons, right? So they're kept with each other. And then like some of my cages, if you notice, like the triangular ones, I basically have the regular Coturnix in those based on colors.
I got a question for you. Are your chickens able to get near your quail, or you keep them separated?
Oh, they're in a separate area.
Right.
Yeah, I don't want them around them.
Right. Dominic says, are there any quail feeds that you know of which don't use soy to make it high protein? And do you sell a quail layer feed or just the starter?
So we sell the starter, a grower, and then the layer, yes. But I mix like I was saying before, I just depends on the season. So actually, depending on the season of the year is the type of feed I use. So I have a molting feed actually. Like this is a huge topic, but a molt feed and then a winter feed. They need more carbohydrates in the winter. So I have a much higher carb feed. And then in the layer, I use the layer feed, which I was telling you I do all my breeding birds on the same one. And then I mix the game bird grower with that. And then sometimes I go back to the starter. It just depends.
Okay. UK Outdoors says, I have quail born with bent toes. Anything I can do to help? And I think it's, and why are they bent?
Oh, well, I am guessing it's an incubation, a hatch issue, or could either be a genetic issue or your incubator and they maybe it's too wet or damp in your incubator. Just my 2 thoughts.
Okay.
And yeah.
Todd says, can you use AstroTurf in your brooder if you wash it weekly?
I actually have some AstroTurf. I flip it upside down actually in the beginning. And I use that for the quail, a non-slip surface sometimes, believe it or not. And I would think you can, but you really, it's really important on hygiene. So for cleanliness, so I use Oxine is one thing I use, or Tektrol for cleaning, but Oxine is the best, really.
Okay.
And you have to make sure you clean it with that. It might deteriorate if you're using that.
Studying My Home says, other than the obvious single trait you're breeding for, size, color, egg size, etc., what specific things do you look for when selecting future breeding stock, and what would be a trait to cull?
I mean, I always look for personality. With any bird I have here, we don't have any aggressive birds. So genetically, it's very important to me to have calm, if possible, for quail. Calm and friendly type quail. Aggressive birds are never part of my breeding program if anything. Anything that's not, I know there's no like technical standard, right? But anything that I would cull for breeding would be any deformities. So no deformities you would want to breed to, of course. Anything like that.
Okay. Let's see, where was I? Cheyenne wants to know, what are some signs of sick or stressed quail?
Oh gosh. Okay, so lots of things. So sitting and having their feathers curled up and kind of hunched over is a huge sign. So whenever I see a bird, and this is with any fowl, hunched over with their feathers up, there's usually something wrong. I recommend separating them out and trying to figure out what it is. Mites, it could be any type of parasite, worms, being picked on, some sort of a gut issue. You need to look at their droppings, food, water, things like that. And then signs of stress is also that as well. Feather picking, they don't have enough space. They're not happy.
Right.
They're sitting there with their eyes closed. To me,
Yep. Freezer wants to know, how many quail do you have?
Oh, I don't know. A lot.
Okay, and Charlotte's Crazy Critters asked the same question, and are they in a building?
They, so the babies are, okay, anybody growing is in a building, and in their own area, definitely. And then once they are fully feathered or adults, they go out and side to a covered area. We have kind of like a barn, but not really. It's like a tent structure right now. And, they have to be somewhere in the winter. It's just way too cold here to be outside exposed to all the elements. Right. Now in the spring, the summer, it's much different. We can have them rotating around, but we keep them away from the chickens and everybody else, like I said.
Yep.
So I haven't counted lately. So Celadon's maybe 300, and
Wow.
the others maybe 400. I mean,
A lot of
yeah.
birds.
And then I'm growing. I mean, people. I'm growing quail for people all the time, so I have to have space to grow them.
Sure.
For people. Yeah.
Cheyenne wants to know what kind of bedding, if you use it, do you use?
I've tried all kinds of bedding. If I were to use bedding, I would use something like peat. I would use something like peat moss. It's super dusty, but it's healthy and safe for them. It actually absorbs ammonia. A little trick there. Sand, possibly shavings. You just got to clean them, pretty often, and you don't want anything getting wet. Wet is not a good thing for them.
Right.
Thick. So PMOS, I do that with shavings. I add some zeolite for helping for compost, because we're huge composters here, and having a good dust bath. Is
Okay. All right, we're getting close. Well, about 10 minutes or so, 10 or 12 minutes. So we're gonna have to try to work through these last questions as quick as possible. Dominic says, is it normal for young quail at 3 to 4 weeks to have very few feathers along their back?
I've had that happen for me. So have you, Terry?
I have, and I figured
Yeah.
out exactly what I was doing wrong. It was too hot. They were just overheated. Yep, and I don't know if they were pulling their feathers or the other birds were pulling their feathers. But once I cooled it down, as a matter of fact, I just took 3-day-old birds out of my brooder and put them in a regular cage. I do have a heat lamp on the far end of the cage, but now they are in a full grow out pen at 3 days old, and they're doing just fine.
Oh, good.
So
Yeah.
I get them off the heat as quick as possible, but I'm in Florida, so it doesn't really matter much.
Yeah.
Okay, Joseph Shank says, question, part 1 of 2. My wife and I are just getting started with our quail flock. We have plans on becoming a fairly decent sized quail farm. We seem to be moving along faster than expected. Would you, part 2, recommend going with the flow or slowing things down, because there may be something you experience that we may not want to be ready for, or that we may want to be ready for?
That's I think it's individually based. We're like jump in head first kind of people, so I would say go for it. And you learn by making mistakes. Nobody's perfect. That's and then you have people to ask for mentorships.
Yep.
So I think go for it.
Sure.
And learn along the way. Absolutely.
Yep. Okay, Rose says, good evening, everyone. Have you ever used chicken nipples to water quail?
So I'm assuming, are you talking about nipple waterer systems?
Yep.
So yes, definitely.
Okay.
But you gotta wash them, they get clogged. So,
Okay, this is a question for me. Michelle says, Terry, how is your new quail weight breeding program going? It's going very well. I am starting to collect eggs from those birds that I selected, and I will be breeding the second generation very soon.
cool.
I'm trying to work up a little bit higher weight class that doesn't have leg problems, supporting all that extra weight. So,
Right.
see, Josh says, what male to female ratio do you recommend? And if I have a 1-to-4 ratio, how should I add the new birds in to make it a 1-to-5 ratio?
I think it depends on your cage, your area, your space. So we always do 1 square foot per bird. We find that makes them the happiest. And then I've done 3 female to 1 male, 4 to 1. If you add another female, there's usually not an issue. I mean, I've never had an issue personally. But that doesn't mean, I think it just depends on their birds, the personality of them. And said, how big the area is. This determines how many per, covey.
Yeah.
So, and when they're growing, I do keep a lot together when they're growing. When they're adults, then I separate them out and give them lots of stuff.
Freezer says, I really don't want to cull my quail, but if I do, what should I keep in my brain so it won't be sad? You got to get used to it. If you're going to cull birds or butcher, you just got to get used to it.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I love all my birds, even for roosters. We have lots of roosters here.
Yep.
It's the hardest thing to do.
Yeah. Exactly.
It really is.
Okay, Ann says, besides cleaning the cages regularly, is there an odor deterrent that can be used that won't harm the birds?
Oh, I know, right? It's very stinky. I think I mentioned zeolite. So there's like horse stall PDZ.
Yep.
Is something you can use. Lime, but it has to be one that doesn't burn them. I forget what kind of lime it is, Terry. You probably know what I'm talking about.
I do. As a matter of fact, I used to work in a plant that made that lime. Ours was made from phosphorus. I don't know what the other stuff is, but I found the biggest thing. I don't use anything anymore. Uh-oh, I lost my guest again. I don't use anything anymore as far as to keep the smell down. The biggest thing is keeping the manure dry. And what I have is a fan that blows across the manure trays, so the poop pretty much dries out as soon as it hits the tray, and yeah, there's hardly any smell out there at all. So, okay, here's a question close to that. Jeannie wants to know: does the wood on quail cages smell badly if it catches the urine or poop? What other materials other than metal or PVC could you use to avoid that lingering smell? Like I say, I don't have that issue just because I try to keep everything dry as possible. I do pressure wash my cages like every 3 months, so I'm getting all that manure and stuff out of there. So that really isn't an issue. Let's see. I don't know what happened. Nicole, if you guys can see me on your other computer, you just dropped out for some reason. I have no idea what happened. But if you want to call back in, fine. If not, Josh wanted to know what program we're using. Zoom. No, it's not Zoom. It is a, it's called Ecamm Live. It's a custom paid for program that I use to bring these guys in. Let's see, Todd says, have you ever thought about using a PID controller on a small freezer to build egg storing container? With a freezer you can set it at almost any cooler temp. Are you there, Nicole? Yeah, Nicole, you guys are muted again. I don't know what happened, but you just dropped out and you are muted. And your signal in the green room, Nicole, is really, really choppy. Michelle says, I know you feed your layers lower protein. What do you feed your male bachelors? And can you just keep females for eggs like chickens? Yes, you can keep the hens just for eggs. You don't need males unless you plan on hatching out fertile eggs. I feed my hens and my roosters in my breeding programs all get the same feed. It's a 16% layer feed. Question. Okay, guys, we got about 4 more minutes. So, and I think they're having issues on their end. I don't know if it's an internet connection or what, but they just dropped out. I'll take a couple more questions, and we're going to go ahead and pull the plug on it. Jason says, what are the chances of my quail hatching their own eggs if I leave them in the cage? Pretty slim, Jason. If you want, you can try to get a hen to go broody if you were to set up like a a very naturalistic aviary or something outside. I know some people in Australia have had some luck getting their hens to go broody. I haven't had any luck with it, but I have, heard of people that had some success with it. A lot of times, though, if they do go broody, they may sit on the eggs and give up halfway through. So, yeah. Pam wants to know what's the most problematic breed of quail. If you're talking about what's the most problematic Coturnix, I really don't have any issues with any of them. Some people, I guess, would say the whites are a problem because they can be aggressive sometimes. But no, I really don't have that many issues with them. Nesto Family says, "How are you so darn knowledgeable? My family and children love watching your videos." I have no idea. I wouldn't say that I'm that knowledgeable. I just I ask a lot of questions. I talk to a lot of people that have been doing this a lot longer than me. Nicole, you're in the green room, but you are muted, and I don't have any image on you guys. It's almost like you have a very slow connection right now. Okay, let's see. I'm trying to go through a few more questions here. Nicole, I do not have an image on you. You are in the green room, but there's no image. I think your internet may have dropped out, or your connection is really bad right now. Okay, any more questions here? I got a question for Nicole, but unfortunately they are no longer with us. I know they're in Vermont somewhere. I'm not sure exactly where she said they were. And if you had hatchbirds, what issues, if any, when you put them into the brooder? I can't answer that question for them. I'm sorry about that. What can have from egg-like products? If you're talking about what products you have from the eggs, you can do hatching eggs, you can do eating eggs, you can do pickled eggs. Some people make decorations out of the eggs. They blow the egg out, dye them a color. There's just so much stuff that you could do, I guess. Wanda wants to know how long you guys have been raising quail. I don't know because they're not here. I've been in quail for about 2.5 years now. Shauna wants to know, what do you recommend for deworming your quail and what rotation do you use? I don't do anything to deworm my quail. I do not feed any type of a medicated feed, and they seem to be doing just fine. I mean, the birds are pretty hardy. Nicole, you're in the green room again, but I don't have an image on you, and you are also muted. Okay, guys, we are at 8 o'clock, so I apologize for the issues we had tonight. It seems like there's always some type of a technical difficulty that we run into. Hopefully we can get it resolved, and I'll actually have these guys back on the show again, and maybe we can get through an entire night without any issues. So first I want to announce the winner of the Coturnix Corner Cup, and that is going to go to Cheyenne Metcalf. So Cheyenne, if you would contact me at Terry@CoturnixCorner.com or over on Facebook, the Coturnix Corner group page, send me your shipping information and I will get that cup out to you just as soon as possible. I noticed too that we have Whiskey Tango Farms is in the house. Kristen, I did get your order for your cup, and that is going to go out tomorrow, so thank you very much. And everyone else, I want to thank you guys for joining us tonight. I apologize again for the issues that we had, the technical issues, but that's live streaming for you. I do want to say that I want to say thank you to Robert and Nicole for coming on the show tonight. It was very interesting, and I appreciate them sharing their farm with us. Also, next week we have Ryan from hatchingtime.com. He's going to be coming on the show and talking about a new line of incubators that they are just making available. And also, if you have any questions for them on any of the other products that they sell, Ryan will be able to answer them questions then. So, guys, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Verna, thank you again for taking moderator duties, and we will see you guys here again next week. And have a wonderful week. And also, don't forget about the this coming Saturday, Coturnix Corner Facebook group page, Coturnix Corner 101 live stream. Kristen, I'm sorry about that, Kristen, from Whiskey Tango Farms will be taking care of that. And yeah, we'll see you guys there. Have a great night, and we'll see you guys later.